All right, good evening, everybody. I guess it's even a good Erev Shabbos, good Leil Shishi. In Yeshiva, we'd always stay up late Thursday night and learn. It's the Indian of Tikkun to Leil Shishi. That's an Indian of Midas Yisoid. And I remember in Eretz Yisrael they'd give us pizza, and in America they'd give us cholent. I always ate the pizza. I never ate the cholent. Cholent for me is just Shabbos day. Anyway, we this week we have Parshas Lech. So let's learn a little bit. V'yemer Hashem el Avram Lech lecha mi'artzecha m'ladetcha m'beis avicha la'aretz asher arako. And the Lord said unto Abram, this is Genesis 12 verse 1. And the Lord said to Abram, go for yourself from your land and from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land which I show you. So this is a difficult thing, because we know chronologically when a person, the first place a person will leave is his father's house. Then after that he leaves his town, his birthplace, and then only after that does he leave the country. He leave the land. But here, God tells Abram, first leave your land, and then leave your birthplace, your native place, and then leave your father's home. And then go to the place where I'll show you. How do you have this backwards? The answer is, you can take, what they say, you can take the man out of the whatever, and you can't take the whatever out of the man, right? So, physically, first you leave your father's home, then you leave your native town, your hometown, and then you leave your country, right? That's physically. First you leave your house, and you leave your village, and you leave your town, and you leave your county, then your state, and then your country, right? Maybe your planet after that, I don't know, But mentally, I remember, I think only once I ever went to Canada, and it was that Thursday was American Thanksgiving. The Canadians had Thanksgiving last week, right? Or last week, this past week. So we had Thanksgiving. I was sojourning in a foreign land, right? Like Lincoln wrote that all of the Americans, including those sojourning in foreign land, should set aside a day to give thanks to the beneficent Creator, right? And he didn't mention anything about turkey, but I remember I couldn't help myself. I took a turkey sandwich with me because it was American. I even though physically I was in another country, I was in Canada, but in my heart I was still in the United States. It was funny, then Motzei Shabbos, I think Shabbos already was the first night of Hanukkah. Friday night was the first night of Hanukkah. And I was in Tush, by the old Tusher Rebbe's, Chusig and Elena Malchus Shalom. And I was eating by his son-in-law, Rabbi Kahana, who was the son of the previous Spinker Rebbe from Yerushalayim, Zechet Tzarek Levracha, who I used to dreizich abyssal by the Spinker Rebbe in Yerushalayim. I would go to many different tishin Friday night when I was living in Yerushalayim. So one tish I would go to was Spinker Mordechai David Kahana, Zechet Tzarek Levracha. I used to dreizich abyssal. I would, and I had some shaykhs with his family. and so he this Spinker Rebbe was mechutin with Tasher Rebbe. So it was funny because the little kids, the adults, they would light oil candles, and the little kids would light regular candles, and so this kid, the Tasher Rebbe Zainikel, Spinker Rebbe Zainikel, his father set up a menorah, and he just happened to pick up a red candle and a white candle. So the kid was asking, Tati, for was hat mich a roite mit a Wasser? Mit a Weißer? Why is there a red candle and a white candle? So I said, wegen Canada. and his father said, I kennt nicht kein Fun. He doesn't know the flags yet, but he said it was a white candle and a red candle. I said it was for Hanukkah, for Canada. So then the next night I was by my Baba Shalom, and we and I was lighting oil candles, and the Baba was lighting regular candles, and she picked three random candles. It happened to be red, white, and blue. This is a memory I have from 18 years ago, I guess. So anyway, but the point I'm saying is that, so physically I was in Canada, but I was still a citizen of the United States, so I was still eating the turkey sandwich because of Thanksgiving, right? The thing is, let's say they settle in another country, they become a citizen of another country, they'll lose that connection. If someone gives up their American citizenship, they're not eating turkey on Thanksgiving, right? So there's another tzaddik who I met once or twice, was maybe 3 times, was Rav Scheinberg, Rav Pinchas Scheinberg. He's a Chusik Elena, big tzaddik in Yerushalayim. He was American born, and he was already a Zalkin Muflik, right? When in those days he was about 100 years old, maybe. I guess then maybe he was in his late 80s, early 90s. When he was nifter, he was 100 years old. Big tzaddik, but American born. And he said, he would make a siyum almost every other day. He learned so much. And if he didn't make a siyum, he had someone else make a siyum, because he would only really eat by his mitzvah. Very high madrega. But he insisted people should just be normal. He was very into that. He wore. People know he wore dozens and dozens of tzitzis, of talis cotton, talesim katanim, and he also wore tefillin all day, and I think he wore 4 different pairs of tefillin to meet all different shitas. So somebody wanted to start wearing tefillin all day, and all of his rebbeim said, that's not for you. So they said, of course you're telling me not to wear tefillin all day, because you don't wear tefillin all day, but I'm going to ask Rav Scheinberg, because he wears tefillin all day. So they went to Rav Scheinberg, and Rav Scheinberg grabbed him by the lapels. He said, just be normal. He didn't want people to copy him. But in any event, so Rav Scheinberg, they say one time he made a very special siyum. Meaning, when you finish a book of the Talmud, you celebrate. Maybe he made a very big deal, this one siyum. So he said, why did he make a big deal? He said, because someone in his presence mentioned the Yankees. And he said all his life, when he would hear the Yankees, someone mentioned the Yankees, he had a warm place in his heart for the Yankees. And he said he got to a point in his life where it didn't mean anything to him anymore. So what I mean by that is that he already was mekayim lech lecha me'artzecha, but I mean he already was holding for decades by go for yourself from your land, from your country, right? But the umimoladecha, from your birthplace, being a New Yorker, that was a little bit harder to give up. He wasn't an American anymore, but he was still, somewhere in his heart, he was still a Yankee fan. And so that's what it means, meaning that the me'artzecha moladecha, it goes in that direction. And then mibeis avicha, for a lot of people, beis avicha, your father's house, is a good place. You never have to leave your father's house. But Avram Avinu, he was from, his father was an idolater. He had to leave his father's house, his father Terach. And so to a lot of people, sometimes there's something from the beis avicha, something from the family, something from the father's house that you have to leave also, particularly if there's abuse or things like that. To be able to leave, it's often, wherever it is, whether it's the heresy, the idolatry that Abraham was leaving, or whether it's some kind of abuse and trauma and post-traumatic stress, whatever it is, it gets very hard to leave your father's house. That's always the last one. And so that's what it means. Go for yourself, meaning for your own benefit, for your own good, for your own pleasure. Leave your country, leave your birthplace, and leave your father's house in that order. That's what God was telling Abraham. It's not for everybody, but everybody has their own bechina of how they leave on their own level, and not everybody is ready for it right away. That's the point that I'm going to bring out. Don't be so judgmental where someone's not yet holding by me'artzecha, or maybe they're holding by the me'artzecha, and the artzecha could mean artzius also, could mean being worldly, whatever it is, being materialistic. So maybe there are people that are holding by that, but they're not holding it by moladecha. They still remember the old sports team. I don't know. I'm wondering, Abraham, if he didn't feel any more a connection to Babylonia as a country, but maybe he had a warm place in his heart for whatever the sports team was in Orchastim, whatever, and then he got to the point where he overcame that, and then he had to give up the beis avicha also, and in whatever sense it was, with the sports team in Orchastim, the fighting pagans, I don't know, but they so that's what I'm saying here, is that you leave in that order, but don't be so judgmental, especially people today. If Rav Scheinberg was 85 years old when he felt that he could already celebrate that he was not the Yankee fan anymore, don't be so hard on somebody who, is not even 40 years old and they're still a Godzilla fan, even with the Strymel on. They're still a fan of the Creature from the Black Lagoon or the Simpsons or whatever, because it's nicht as I push it. You have to take things slowly, because tefasta meruba lo tefasta. You take too much, you don't have anything. you try to hold on to sand, it falls through your fingers. Take things slowly, and läuft sich nicht, and things will be okay. The Eibishter will helfen, will zeichen sein to very good things, and God should have mercy on us in these difficult times that it appears to be coming. We hope that God will have mercy and we won't have to suffer. But if we do, we can. I remember from Torah Or, which was Rabbi Steinberg's yeshiva, there was a very choshev mashgiach, was Zelig. Oh, I don't remember his name now. Anyway, he spoke to our yeshiva, and he was having a hard time, even though he spoke English. He was more speaking Yiddish, and he said something. He was going back between English and Yiddish. Oh, I don't remember his name now. Reb Zelig.